What a vibe this song has. They nailed the 50s doo-wop, 6/8, 12/8 vibe. You know, the Platters, Paul Anka. If you don't know those groups, Platters, Paul Anka, check them out right now. Check them out at the end of the video. Not right now. Don't do it right now. Stay on the video. Stay on the video as long as you can. Yeah. Okay, let's get started. So the very first step in playing this is you're going to put your capo up at the 10th fret. So throughout the song, you're going to be holding your left hand down in a static chord for the entirety of a bar. So it's a good idea just to learn what chords you're going to be playing. Okay, so for the very first bar of the intro, it is a C chord. Straightforward. Second bar is an E minor chord, played from the A string downwards. Now bear in mind I'm using the index finger and middle finger for this chord fingering. That's important. We'll get to that in a second. Third bar is a mini bar chord of F. You're using your ring finger, pinky finger, middle finger, and index finger bars the B and E strings up the top. We're not going to be playing the low E string. Okay, the next bar has a series of uncomfortable to play finger yoga chords. Here they are. Okay, so that is a ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. D string is not played. You can mute it with back of your ring finger or using your middle finger or using the tip of your index finger. Your index finger is going to be barring across the G, the B, and the E strings at the 1st fret. And you get your pinky finger up at the 3rd fret of the high E string to get this first chord of the 4th bar. Does that for half a bar, and then it moves down to no pinky finger for the second half of the bar. So that bar again is, and then the final bar of the intro is this funky chord, which is an F minor 6/9, giggity, moving to an F minor 6. Okay, so those last 2 bars of that section are the hardest, and they sound like this. Got this F minor 9 to an F minor to an F minor 69, giggity, F minor 6. The only thing that's challenging with the left hand in this song, apart from those chords, is the fact that on that second bar, you're going to do a pull-off from the 3rd fret to the open string on the high E string. Highly recommend you use your ring finger. Alright, that's why we use this fingering for the E minor chord. So index finger, middle finger, and ring finger is doing the pull-off at the top. The right hand is where most of the work is happening. So the very first chord is you're going to be playing a C chord from the A string downwards. And then upstroke, E string, upstroke, B string, downstroke, G string. Again, that's chord, up, up, down. Next bar is an E minor from the A string downwards. Up on the E string, pull off, upstroke B string, downstroke G string, upstroke B string. Then the F chord, doing a downstroke from the A string down to the B string. Now if you want to try and block off that high E string so you don't accidentally hit it, you can either do that with the back of your index finger with the left hand, or you can use your right hand and just lay your pinky finger on the E string, so that if you hit it you won't even hear it. Or just be really careful with your pick. So chord, upstroke E string, upstroke B string, upstroke G string. So at this point we get to the F minor 9 chord. The very first strum in this is going to be from the A string downwards. Next strum is just going to be the last 3 strings, the top 3 strings. And then from the A string downwards again. So those first 3 eighth notes in that bar. Then the next 3 eighth notes in the bar are exactly the same, except we have a different chord with our left hand. Then the very final bar is with the F minor 69, giggity, and then F minor 6. They're just going to be played from the D string downwards. Little point about dynamics, at that point you're going to be doing a crescendo, so you're going to be getting louder and louder and louder towards the end of the bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the verse left hand is going to be a C chord for the first bar. Straightforward. Second bar, same chord. Third bar is an E minor. What the what? At this point we're going to use our ring finger and pinky fingers to finger that E minor chord, because the next bar has this chord, which is a 3-note F major chord, and it makes it much easier to move from the E minor to the F chord if you use your ring finger and pinky fingers. So the fourth bar again is an F major for half the bar, and then it switches to an F minor for the second half of the bar. So F major, ring finger, pinky finger, middle finger, F minor, ring finger, pinky finger, index finger. So the first 4 bars of that verse again are C, C, E minor, paying attention to the fingering, F major, F minor. Bars 5 through 8 are exactly the same again. C, C, E minor, F major, F minor. Bars 9 through 12, exactly the same again. C, C, E minor, special fingering, F major, F minor. So bars 13 through 16, the last 4 bars of that section. When he sings the lyric again, we are going to be changing it up a little bit. First bar goes C. Second bar is also C, except for the last 2 strums, it's C7. If you don't know what a C7 is, it's when you take the open G string and you put your pinky finger at the 3rd fret instead. Gives you that dominant chord. Again, the first 2 bars are C, and then C again for the second bar, ending with 2 strums of C7. Now the last 2 bars starts with a G chord. Now I'm using this fingering for G, the ring finger, middle finger, pinky finger, folk guitar style. So that second last bar is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First 3 strums, try not to hit the high E string, or if you can't help it, just mute it with your pinky finger with your right hand. Okay, you really want to hear that open B string instead. Then the second half, just play all 6 strings. So again, that whole bar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the next bar, the final bar, is G7. G7 is ring finger, middle finger, index finger up at the top of the high E string at the 1st fret for all 6 strums. So the very first step to playing this section is you're going to have to palm mute. So you're going to have to put this fleshy part of your hand just in front of the bridge on the strings. Alright, you get this kind of a cross between a note and a percussive sound in one. Okay, so the first bar is a single note on the A string, a rest, the A string and the D string at the same time, and then we have a full C chord. Now this is accented, which means you're going to be playing that a little bit louder than the other ones. So it goes single note, rest, 2 notes, full chord, a little bit louder, and then 2 more notes to end that bar. G string, D string. Again, one more time. Single note, rest, 2 note, full chord, single note, single note. The next bar is a single note on the A string, a rest, another single note on the A string, another accented chord, this time just focusing on the 4 middle strings, an open G string, and then 2 notes on the A and the D string at the same time. So again, single note, rest, single note, accented chord, open G, 2 notes on the A and the D. Bar 3, moving our left hand down to this E minor fingering with the 3rd and 4th fingers. Starts with an A string and D string at the same time. A rest, a single note on the A string, single note on the G string, single note D string, single note A string. Again, one more time. 2 notes, rest, single note A, single note G, single note D, single note A. 4th bar is 3 notes at the same time with this F chord from the A, the D, and the G strings. With a rest, then another of that same chord. Switching to the F minor with the left hand, we've got 3 notes with the right hand. Single note D string, then 3 notes again. So that bar is 3 note A, D, and G strings. Rest, A, D, and G strings. Then you switch to the F minor chord, A, D, and G strings. Single note D string, A, D, and G strings. So bars 5 through 8 are very, very similar. In fact, bars 9 through 12 are also very, very similar. There's slight variations. If you just want to play the same 4 bars in the verse from bars 1 to 4, 5 to 8, and then 9 to 12, totally fine. If you want to get very specific, let's go. So bar 5 is 2 notes with the right hand, A and D, rest, single note, chord, accented, rest, single note, A string. Next bar, 2 notes, A string, D string, rest, single note, A string, 3 notes on the E, the A, and the D, slightly accented, slightly louder, then D string, A and D. Bar 7, 2 notes with the right hand, A and D, rest, same 2 notes again, then A string through to B string chord, accented, rest, A string. And bar 8 is exactly the same as bar 4. A to D strings, A, D, and G strings, rest. We get to bar 9, A and D strings at the same time with the C chord, rest, single note, chord, accented, rest, single note, moving on. A and D strings, rest, single note. For that last C chord, you are going to be playing all 5 strings, but remember to accent them. Rest, A and D strings. We switch to E minor, A and D strings, rest, A and D strings, 4 notes, accented, rest, A string. And bar 12 is the E, the A, and the D strings again, same thing as bar 5 and 8. Rest. At this point it changes it up for the last 4 bars of that section. We've got, starting with a C chord, A, D, and G string same time, rest, single note, big full 5-string chord for C, rest, A and D strings. Again, that sounds like this. Rest, single note, chord, rest, 2 notes. Now it gets a little trickier. We've got the A, the D, and G strings for bar 14. Then a single note D string, A, D, and G strings again. Then a full C chord, not including the high E string. Then the last 2 strums of that bar are a C7, which is from the A string, D string, G string, B string, strings only. So for the last 2 bars of that section, it's 6 strums with your right hand, all 6 strings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Also got to add a crescendo at this point, so start getting louder and louder up until the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. chorus starts with an F bar chord, and a G, folky fingering, ring finger, middle finger, pinky finger. Bar 3 is a C chord, then bar 4 is an E minor chord, using your ring and pinky fingers so that you can move on to bar 5, which is again an F major chord. Moving on to a G chord, C chord, C7 chord for bar 8, bar 9 starts with an F, bar 10 G, bar 11 C, bar 12 E minor, bar 13, bar 14 still an F, and then we switch to this F minor chord. Alright, so ring finger, A string, muted D string, barring your index finger on the G, the B, and the E strings at the 1st fret. And then the final bar has this F minor 69 chord, giggity, F minor 6 chord. So the right hand is pretty straightforward during this section. It's going to be all 6 downstroked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But what you do have to do is you got to accent the 4th, 8th note of every bar. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Etc., etc., etc. That is the same for the whole section except for the last 2 bars. We're going to be downstroking from the A string downwards. Or if you accidentally hit the E string, that's totally fine. Just make sure you try and mute it with your thumb of your left hand. And then the last bar is from the D string downwards for that F minor 69 chord, and then an F minor 6 chord at the end. You play from the D string, G string, and B string only. So those last 2 bars from the A string downwards, D string downwards, chorus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now during this solo section, you're going to be switching between chords and single note melodies pretty rapidly. Let's just start with the chords for each bar. First bar is C, second bar is C, third bar is E minor. Pay attention to the fingering I'm using for this. We're now using our middle and our ring fingers for a very specific reason, which I'll get to in a second. Fourth bar is still E minor. Fifth bar is F. Alright, just focusing on the A, D, G, and B strings. Sixth bar is the same. Seventh bar is our favorite F minor chord, followed by the final bar, which is F minor 69, giggity, and then F minor 6. So again, those bars are, first bar C, second bar C, third bar E minor, fourth bar E minor, fifth bar F, then F again, then F minor, then F minor 69, then F minor 6. Now we start adding the 2 melody notes that happens at the end of every bar in the solo. So we start with the 4 strums of C. 1, 2, 3, 4, single note, single note. So those last 2 notes are a index finger slid from the B string, 1st fret to the 3rd fret. And then finally, first fret with your index finger at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same thing happens in bar 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At this point we switch our chord to E minor, again using our middle fingers and ring fingers, because we're going to do this. E minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, slid note, single note. Makes it much easier to get to that melody if we're using these fingers for that E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, that melody is from the 3rd fret to the 1st fret. 4th bar, we stay with our E minor chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the last 2 notes are different. We're going to be sliding our ring finger on the B string up to the 5th fret. Then we're going to be playing our index finger at the 3rd fret, because the next chord we move to is an F major. So we've got our index finger on the B string already. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide with your ring. Single note, index finger. Same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide, single note. And then to end, we've got the 2 bars of F minor and F minor 69. Whole of that solo section looks like this with the left hand. C, 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 slide, single note, C, 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 slide, single note, E minor, E minor, E minor, E minor, slide, single note, minor, E minor, E minor, E minor, slide with the ring finger, index finger, F major, slide, single note, F major, slide, single note, and then the F minor chord variations at the end. In terms of the right hand, we're going to be doing nothing but downstrokes. So for the C chords, you're going to be doing a downstroke from the A string downwards. Single note, B string, single note, B string. Single note, B string, single note, B string. E minor, all 6 strings. Single note, B string, single note, B string. All 6 strings again. And again, same thing with a different melody note with the left hand. So now we're at the F major chord. Try and strum from the A string, D string, G string, B strings only. If you can't do that, if you feel like you're going to hit this string by accident, just mute it with your right hand. So pinky finger, sit on that string. 1, 2, 3, 4, single note, chord, single note, single note. So at this point we're going to be playing the second last bar, which is an F minor. Doing a downstroke from the A string downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last bar is from the D string downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we've got the down chorus, which starts with a F bar chord. So a mini bar chord, index finger just barring on the B and the E strings. Next chord is a G. Folky fingering, C. E minor. Again, using your ring and pinky fingers. Bar 5, F. Bar 6, G. Bar 7, C. Bar 8, C7. At this point we start strumming away when the band comes in. So we start with an F major chord for bar 9. Bar 10 is a G. Bar 11 is a C. Bar 12 we got a C major 7. Very, very easy to get to if you know your C chord. All you need to do is lift up your index finger. There we go. Jazz. And then for the last 4 or 5 bars of the song, we start with an F major chord, just focusing on the middle 4 strings. Then another bar, the same chord. Then an F minor chord. So to get that, we're going to lift up our middle finger and focus on barring the G and the B strings, high E string if you want to. Now we've got an F minor 9 chord, which is your ring finger, 3rd fret, index finger bars the G, the B, and the E strings, and your pinky finger gets the high E string. Alright, a little bit of Careless Whisper for you. And then you've got this really, really tricky chord right at the end. Finger Yoga, which is, again, an F minor 6 voicing. It is 3rd fret on the A string, open D string, which is very difficult to play cleanly. Index finger plays the 1st fret of the G string. In fact, the index finger bars the G and the B and the E strings. But your pinky finger also holds down at the 3rd fret of the B string. So you get this 3, 0, 1, 3, 1 chord. And then to end, we've got our C major chord. C major with an E bass, which just means you're going to be playing this E string within your chord. So, like that. So the whole of the down chorus starts with an F, G, C, E minor, special fingering, F, G, C, C7, F, G, C, C major 7, F, F, F minor 9 to F minor 6. And then a C major with an E bass at the end. So we start off the chorus with the right hand by playing just the A string, G string, G string, B strings on that F chord. And then upstroke E string, upstroke B string, upstroke G string. Next bar is a G chord. We're going to be playing the E string, downstroke, upstroke G string, downstroke D string, upstroke E string, upstroke B string, upstroke G string. Next bar is C, down A, up G, down D, up E, up B, up G, down A for the next bar with the E minor, down A, up G, down D, up E, up B, up G. Bar 5 starts with your F chords, down A string, down G string, down D, up E, up B, up G. Then we got our G chord, down E string, up G, down D, up E, up B, up G. And then our C chord, down A, up G, down D, up E, up B, up G. At this point, for the C7 chord, we're going to be doing strumming from the A string downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bar 9, on the recording, he keeps arpeggiating. When the band comes in, I'm just going to strum at that point because it helps to build the dynamics, to build right before the end of the song. But totally up to you. If you want to arpeggiate it, it's exactly the same as the first 3 bars of that down chorus. So. Now if you want to do the strumming, it's just going to be an F bar chord. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bar 10, G. Bar 11, C. Now bar 12 is the C major chord. We're going to be doing 2 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're up to the home stretch. So we've got our F major chord focusing on the A string, D string, G string, B strings. Down, 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 down again. Down, 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 down. At this point we switched to our F minor chord. Same strumming with the right hand, except we're going to be doing a rit, which means we're going to be slightly slowing down. A ritandando. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we got our F minor 9 chord. 3 strums of that, D string downwards. Then our F minor 6 chord at the end, which is 5 strings downwards from the A string. 1, 2, 3. Then the very final chord is your C chord, which you're going to be raking across the strings slowly. Like that. So the last 5 bars of that section start with F major. And again, F major. F minor, we're going to start ritting now. F minor 9. F minor 6. And then rake across the strings very, very slowly for your C major chord. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that wraps it up. So thank you so much for staying till the end. Let me know in the comments below if you found the lesson helpful and if you have any ideas for new songs. Before I go though, let me give a huge thanks to the fantastic singers Steve Fuller and Miriam Ma that were featured in the cover song in the beginning. Also a huge thank you to Sean Martin for lending me sweet Suzanne. She's so beautiful, but she has to go home. She has to. Didn't she do such a good job? She did such a good job. All 3 of those people, not this one, are fantastic musicians, so please check out their links in the description below. While you're there, also consider donating to my Patreon or my Ko-fi account so I can keep making these videos. If you like this video, you're gonna love this one. This one's a good one. This one's even better. I can't believe how good this one is. This one's great. Click it.